Welcome guys to another episode of Tier Maker. So in this video we're going to be ranking Sonic's gameplay styles, and yeah, without further ado, let's get started. I'll be starting off with the classic games, and yeah, I think they were pretty good. It was a pretty good way to start. Sonic 1's moveset was a little bit bare bones. It did have the roll though, which eventually got turned into the spin dash, which was a pretty long stay. And yeah, it really differentiated itself from the platformers at the time, and it did a good job at what it was trying to do. So yeah, just for what it is though, I think I'm still gonna give it a B because there's definitely things that have done better. Next up is the adventure gameplay style, which I think was a really good way to get the classic game style into 3D. I like just really the classic games, you do feel like you need to build momentum, but it really it feels a lot more rewarding in these games. I don't know, also being able to use the spin dash on ledges to get a lot of height and speed, and really just messing around seeing what you can do. I think it's a great gameplay style, and I haven't played every game that it's in, but from the ones I have, it's been really fun. But yeah, no, I think it's a pretty solid gameplay style. Next up is the boost, and I've split the boost into two. You'll see the other half later, but this one kind of just mainly talks about Unleashed, Colors, and Generations, because that's a pretty unified gameplay style. But yeah, I think I really like this one. It's definitely my favorite, just mainly because I like how versatile his moveset is. In other games, you have a pretty basic array of stuff, and the adventure games, you get a little bit more with the upgrades. But Colors is a little bit excluded from this because it's missing a couple. But in Generations and Unleashed, I love just how much you can do with his moveset. I mean, you have the boost, which is just really reaction based and is just really fun to work off of. But I also love that you don't have to use them, but it's it really adds a lot to his moveset when you have the slide, the quick step, the stomp, the mainly the drift. I just love the drift. But I think around this point is kind of where they peaked at their gameplay style. But yeah, I really like it. The next up is the Werehog, and yeah, no, this is I will say it's overhated, but not by much. It definitely does deserve a lot of the hate it gets. He feels clunky to play. A lot of the combos, I'm not really that big into I don't know, hack and slash games. But yeah, the main problem with it, and I've probably said this in the past, is that people buy a Sonic game to play a Sonic game, not God of War. It's just I don't know. It's personally really not for me and not for a lot of people. But yeah, no, I'm gonna give it a D tier. Next up, we have the Lost World gameplay style, and I like that they tried something new, but going from Generations to this was really, really jarring. Well, I mean, I didn't really, I wasn't there when it happened, but well, I mean, I existed. It's just I was very little, but it's just when you play Generations and then play this directly after, it's just not quite a good time. I mean, in Generations and stuff, you're going really fast, and then in this, you kind of lose a lot of your speed, and you're even slow. And it's not even that it really goes for momentum. It kind of just you kind of just there's a run button, and then you just get at your max speed, which isn't really that exhilarating. And while the parkour is neat, it really doesn't make up for it. So I'm gonna give it a C tier. Next up, the second boost, which I think this one is mainly Forces, Frontiers, and Shadow Generations, which hasn't come out yet, which I'm very excited for next week. But basically, it took the Lost World physics engine and kind of tried to turn it into Generations, and it has been improving. But when it started off in Forces, I'm just really not a fan. It got I don't exactly remember everything it got rid of, but I'm pretty sure it got rid of it got rid of the quick step, which I guess is a little bit more minor. But the biggest thing that it got rid of, I think, was the drift, which I don't get why. I see why they did it. It's because the level design didn't really have a purpose for it. But that also seems like a problem with the level design in this game. and he feels a lot more clunky to play. It's just overall not nearly as good as it was. So I'm gonna give it another C tier. But yeah, that'll be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are excited for next week with Shadow Generations. I'll be making a video kind of just off of my first impressions of the game, so yeah, it might be a little bit more scuffed than my usual videos, but it'll be a really fun time, and I hope you guys are excited. But that'll be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and goodbye, bon appetit.